minutes away from the end of the trading day on this Monday. Scarlet Fu and Isabelle Lee here with you, and here to help us take you through the closing bell is a global simulcast. We're joined now by Massar and Joe Deaux, bringing together the best of our Bloomberg Television, radio, and YouTube audiences worldwide to parse through the most crucial moments of the trading day. And it feels a little bit like a quiet summer day, Carol, as we await some kind of catalyst. Maybe it'll be retailer earnings. Maybe it won't be until NVIDIA's results next week.
Our FOMC minutes on Wednesday. Having said that, not so boring when you look at the Treasury trade. We've definitely seen U.S. yields ticking higher. We've got maybe the concerns again about the U.S. war in Iran. This as it's pushed. Once again, WTI and Brent higher. We've got WTI crude right now up, Joe, about 2.3%. So that again speaks to some concerns inflationary-wise.
Yeah, it's just another day in these markets with some unpredictable tweets from the president over the weekend that keep us on our toes.
You guys are always talking about that, aren't you? We all are.
Always.
I mean, we're seeing earnings, we're wrapping up earnings, and it's been really relatively strong. We have Goldman saying that EPS growth is tracking at 31% year over year, but the impact of AI adoption on corporate earnings remains relatively narrow. So again, the winners are still relatively, I would say a small group, but then it's interesting to see the outsized impact that it has.
Yeah, it continues to have an outsized impact, and you reminded us as well, Isabelle, of the headline that we got on Anthropic and the 60 billion plus run rate that it's now hitting, annual run rate, and the anticipation ahead of that eventual IPO. All right, we're getting closer to the closing bells, and right now we are looking at declines for a second day for the S&P 500, down 0.5% right now as we hear the closing bells ringing. The Dow Industrials also down about 0.5%. The Nasdaq, the better performer among the three major indexes, down about 1/3 and the Russell 2000 of small cap stocks, which had been holding it better than some of the big cap names in the month of July, down about 1/3 as well, Carol.
All right, just going back to the big caps, the S&P 500, definitely more of a risk-off trade, no doubt about it, Scarlett. 367 names, Isabelle, to the downside as I look at the index, 134 to the upside, 2 unchanged.
And taking a look at the IMAP, you're seeing kind of a mixed picture there. Actually, oh no, mine was taking a while to load. It's mostly red. You're seeing just one bright spot there, and that is energy, which is trading higher. The rest, Carol and Joe, are trading lower.
All right, guys, let's go to some of the individual gainers, if I may. I've got the gainers. Joe has the decliner. So I start with SanDisk. This is your #1 gainer in both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. Really what we saw, you guys mentioned, Isabelle and Scarlett, the Anthropic investment. We continue, or the Anthropic information in terms of its financials and just getting an idea of how big a business it's got and how much growth we are seeing. So AI-linked stocks rising after Anthropic told prospective investors that its preliminary second quarter revenue was $11.5 billion. I know we got another number on them. So SanDisk, that stock was up almost 9% in today's session. Pick your name, though. Marvell was also a high flyer, up about 5.5%. You had Western Digital. That was good for a gain of about 5.3%. And then Coherent was up almost 7.8%. So again, keep in mind, yes, it's the Anthropic name, but once again, investors, just pushing what has been a common narrative, this broader rally when it comes to memory and storage stocks after SanDisk outlined an upbeat multi-year financial outlook. We got that last week. SanDisk continuing to be really a high flyer this year. It is a top performing name by a wide margin in the S&P 500. So there's that group. And then I just got to mention SpaceX because we've seen this name top in the NASDAQ 100 today, up about 4.5% at the close. Investment firms for ultra-wealthy individuals have built up billions of dollars of exposure to SpaceX. So more than a dozen family offices holding a total of at least $3.8 billion in SpaceX through the first half of 2026. This is according to those U.S. filings, 13F filings. Harvard, too, has a big stake. Some 2.2 billion or nearly 13 million shares. So, even though SpaceX has struggled a bit in terms of the trade coming off of the IPO, ultra wealthy, Harvard, and some others, they definitely want to have a piece of SpaceX, Joe. No doubt about it.
It's interesting to see who's holding the stock now versus when it first went public.
It's a really good point, right? It has certainly moved along a little bit. All right, you've got the decliners.
I've got the decliners. I've got a bit of a mixed bag. Mine doesn't have a theme to it, but we're looking at iPoint shares. They had a record drop today. The drug developer said its experimental treatment for an eye disease failed to meet a primary goal in its late-stage trial. This is called wet age-related macular degeneration. The main thing here was Cantor cut their rating on the company to neutral from overweight, saying that the trial miss was, quote, a scenario so unlikely in our view that we hadn't even contemplated it in our bull-bear base case scenario analysis in our recent initiation. So that was interesting. They have another trial coming up that doesn't necessarily mean this is the end, so that's one thing to keep an eye on. The next is Bally's, of course, the casino entertainment company. Their shares tumbled the most intraday since February of last year, after the company warned investors of, quote, substantial doubt that will be able to continue as a going concern. Listen, the company reported financial results in the second quarter late Friday. Citizens analyst Jordan Bender noted that the situation doesn't appear dire, but we do not believe the company has the ability to finish all of its projects without selling or bringing in a development partner at its current leverage levels. So leverage is a massive thing there. Listen, Bender also noted that they just closed a purchase of Samstown for an estimated $30 million. They have a $4 billion downstate New York casino project in progress, which some folks around here might know about. And of course, it has a Las Vegas development. And finally, I'm looking at JetBlue Airways. The shares dropped as much as 6.7% after Seaport Global Securities cut the recommendation on the airline to neutral from buy. As you know, Carol, I've been talking a lot about Hormuz and Iran today. Yeah. Analyst Daniel McKenzie says the balance sheet risk moves to the front burner without the Strait of Hormuz open, which is a critical assumption around their upgrade back in April. They note, to be sure, jet fuel volatility is a challenge for all, but it's a disproportionate risk to JBLU given the elevated debt levels. So that's just one more thing to look at.
No buy ratings, guys.
No buy ratings, 10 holds, 7 sells. Speaking of debt levels, let's talk about the bond market here. You can see a lot of red on the screen. A sell-off in treasuries, particularly at the long end of the yield curve, goes straight to the bottom there for the 30-year yield, now at the highest since 2007, June of 2007. That is before the financial crisis. The 10-year yield also elevated insofar as it's at the highest level so far this month. It has not retraced to the highest level that we've seen in July, but still, that's quite some move. And of course, the balance of risk seems increasingly tilted towards inflation, persistent inflation.
All right, guys, we've got a great story that's on our radar, and it's about thieves stealing from trains. You know, you think of like Westerns, old-time Westerns, you think of Jesse James or Butch Cassidy and all that good stuff. Turns out, guys, criminals nabbing more than $200 million of goods from 75,000 thefts on U.S. freight rail networks in 2025, according to an industry group that represents some of the big train names, including CSX. I mean, they're stealing things, Joe, like Nikes and other stuff.
Class 1 railroads back in the news, maybe not for what they want to be known for, but having spent a lifetime covering commodities, the number of heists you hear that are similar to this, people putting copper on flatbed trucks and getting out in the middle of the night, this is a good one that I think anybody would love to read.
I mean, there's some incredible detail in that story where they were also trying to steal cars, but it was kind of difficult to actually move a car somewhere else and sell it on the black market. So they've kind of resorted to things like computer parts or things that are easier to sell on the gray market.
And I think to stave off all of these selling, they're going to try to incorporate, or what is the word I'm thinking of? They're going to put high tech.
Yes, they're going to integrate more high tech.
More. Thank you, Scarlett, for the GRE lesson. But they're going to integrate more high tech, I guess, to really maybe catch the thieves.
They have cameras everywhere, and they've like got these massive fences and everything to prevent people from stealing it. But there's a lot of cartels and gangs involved in all this.
You know what? They might try to steal beef.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So that's another story. Because thank you, Carol. Beef is finally becoming a little too expensive for American households. We know beef prices have been going up, and the Trump administration has been doing a lot of work in trying to bring that down, perhaps like opening the door to more imports from Argentina. But it's now come to the point where the growth in beef has started to fall off a little bit, started to turn over. I mean, we're still eating a lot of beef, but maybe not growing at the same pace as we were before.
It's really become a treat. I mean, it's pretty shocking sometimes. You look at some of the prices and you're just like, my husband does a lot of the shopping, and I think at some point I'm like, wait, how much is that steak? And I'm like, oh my God, you could buy, I don't know, not quite a house, but it feels
almost
like
a part of it. That's why they're eating chicken now. I mean, I don't know, I guess it depends on who you ask, but some people say chicken is healthier anyway. I mean, without all the GMO.
Sometimes you need a good steak.
I don't know. I saw people at Costco who were, holding up some short ribs and saying, this one's for the dog.
Wow,
Yeah, fancy dogs.
Those are the people who are giving their dogs peptides and light treatments, and come on.
Yeah,
The
all of that.
humanization of pets, that line I stole from this story. I thought it was really good.
My dogs are getting dry kibble. What about you, Joe?
I currently just have a toddler to take care of.
Okay. also
have to make that choice.
expensive. Also expensive.